Hey guys, welcome back to the Rad Hyrox podcast. Today we have Katie Cooper. Katie is the first adaptive athlete to race Hyrox Women's Pro when she took to the floor in Manchester a few weeks ago. Super inspiring. We saw it all over Instagram. She's leading the way for sure, a role model to everyone, but especially the female disabled athletes. And on her Instagram, she says she would have loved to have seen disabled athletes being advertised when she was growing up. So here she is to do just that, and she's doing a bloody good job of it. So welcome to the podcast, Katie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the intro. That was lovely.
Oh,
No,
no.
it's honestly we were over in New Zealand and Australia at the time, and you just kept popping up on our feed all the time, and I was like, blimey, this is cool.
Yeah, very inspirational. We were like, we need to find out more and hear about like your Hyrox journey. But first I wanted to ask if you could just maybe explain to our listeners how you first got into sport in general, if it was from a child or as you were growing up, and a little bit of background from you.
Yeah, of course. So I started kind of sports as a young child. I started as a dancer. So I was a competitive dancer, danced all across the UK, competing. And I was always very shy, very introverted growing up. I'm still a bit like that now. But I think that's really where my confidence came out. And so yeah, I did that till I went to college, and then I studied dance at college as well. And I actually fell pregnant at a fairly young age, so during my third year of college. So I was 19, and then so I danced up until I was about 6 months pregnant. I didn't want to stop. I think my teachers wanted me to, but I was like, no, I'm going to carry on. And then as soon as I had my little girl, I went straight back to college when she was 7 weeks old, just to finish my course because I didn't want it to go to waste. And then following that, I kind of had to obviously stop dancing at that point, at least for then. But I still just wanted to do something active. So that's when I joined the gym. I've always loved kind of hybrid training. I didn't do anything specific to Hyrox back then, because that was quite a few years ago now, 11 or so years ago. But I always loved weight training and doing fitness classes. I love being in that kind of environment of that. It's just kind of everyone like helping each other and stuff. And I really had a big focus on weight training, but I didn't know how to train my upper body. I weren't really big into social media at that time, and I didn't know how to get tips and tricks, so I would just focus on my legs. And yeah, it was about a year ago that I came across Hyrox, and I've always had the mentality of so I never like really questioned if I can do something. It's always how I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to do it. It's just the how. So yeah, I found Hyrox, and I just thought that is absolutely a bit of me, and I need to try that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
love it. Yeah, I love it. And for anyone listening, can you just explain, it's your arm, so is it from the elbow that you were born like that, or it was amputated?
Yeah, no, so I was born like it, so it's all I've ever known. And it just goes slightly past my elbow. So yeah, it's my left forearm and hand that's missing.
So you've just always like learned to adapt and do everything that you do that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's never stopped me doing anything. If anything, it's made me want to do even more, I guess, and just try everything. I love trying new things. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And then the dancing. So you said like you obviously love doing all the weight training and the hybrid training. Did you train in the gym as a dancer as well, or was it just because obviously you must have like an incredible like core, you must be incredibly strong. We know dan how fit dancers are. Did you do any like gym work as a dancer, or was it all just different types of dance when you were training?
No, I never tried the gym up until kind of after I stopped dancing. So the dancing I primarily did was freestyle. And whenever I said that, I mean, everyone just kind of thinks I'm into hip hop. I am not.
That's what I just thought like straight away. I was like, that's so Like what?
No,
What's style then?
I am not a hip hop dancer, far from it. So freestyle disco, it's not really big unless you kind of know what it is and are in that space. But it's where you just wear the really fabulous costumes, big makeup, lots of fake tan, and it's really, really high energy. You do need to do some sort of fitness. We used to do a lot of fitness classes within the dance classes. But yeah, I used to eat, sleep, breathe dance. It was like my entire life. I'd finish my dance class, go home, carry on stretching, do 200 sit-ups every night. So yeah, you did have to kind of be quite fit, I guess, to do
And
it.
I'm guessing you're like super flexible and super mobile. Like you can probably put your head on the floor when you're sitting with your legs straight or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't think there's many Hyrox athletes that can do that. So at least your mobility for the wall balls will be there, you know?
yeah, absolutely. I am quite naturally flexible. So flexible, luckily, and I have managed to keep that. I want to be 70 years old and doing splits. That's what I want to do.
You need to do that over the finish line. I think that's wild.
That's a great idea. Love
Oh, you
that.
could so do that. You put us to shame.
No, that's for sure. Oh no, that's really like interesting because we were speaking a little bit and like one of the questions I wanted to ask was how you find like training and managing, I guess, like injury and maybe compensating because we were saying you must have a really strong core to use like your one side and not, I guess, hurt your neck or different parts of your body because of the strain. Like, I didn't know if you could talk to us a little bit about that, about your training.
Yeah, I'm still learning, to be honest. When I did Hyrox, the one station I was really worried about is the sled pull with one arm. And I'll be honest, I didn't try it at all in my training. I think it was a couple of weeks before I literally tried it once and that was it. I was really kind of intimidated by it, I guess. But I've got a really great coach. Shout out to her, Barbie. She's really great and she really helped me. But even still with the sled pull, I literally did it one length during training. I was like, that's it, I don't want to do any more. I'll just do it on the race day. And when I did it on the actual race day, it took me ages. I was there for a very long time. I've got a video of it and like all the other athletes by me, they've all gone, they've all carried on. It's just me, and it was moving like an inch every time. So yeah, I'm still learning. And also with the ski, I didn't really try that as well because I was a bit worried of how I was going to do it, because I'd never done it. So at first I was getting the rope and wrapping it around my arm, and it was almost cutting circulation when I was doing it. But I thought, oh, that's the only like like the only way I can do it. And the handle was like hanging down as well because that wouldn't kind of stay, and it kept flinging me in the face, like bashing me in the face, really hurting. But I was like, well, I don't see any other way. But then I actually did just try to do it one-handed, and I do lift my arm up in the same kind of motion that you saw on my video because it just feels right. But yeah, I'm still just adapting, finding better ways kind of to do the stations that suit me. And I imagine I will still just keep learning, but I'm happy to do that and happy just to keep improving.
Yeah, I mean,
It's incredible. Like I think just like the pro women's sled is so heavy.
yeah.
Like especially when it's right out. Like I just can't imagine not being able to use two hands. Like kudos to you to get that all the way down the other end.
Mental.
It's just incredible because
Yeah,
it doesn't move anyway. I think I fell over last time I tried to pull it.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, pro wasn't, yeah, it was very heavy. But I know, it's like I said, I found a better technique since doing my first Hyrox, and I'm actually a lot better at it. I actually enjoy the station, which not a lot of people say about the sleds, but I do.
but you
So,
just
yeah.
have good like mental strength to carry on.
Absolutely.
You know, someone who was maybe struggling on that station and then to see everyone else like leave and you think, oh, I'm just here like on my own now doing it, to be able to have the mental strength and the determination to carry on and push through, like it's incredible. Like I think.
Yeah, no, it was hard, but again with the pro, I didn't actually plan on doing the pro so early. It just kind of came about. And again, I literally tried it the week before and I just did one length. I was like, no, okay, I'm just going to try it in a day and just hope that it moves.
The adrenaline will help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss, and I think with a Hyrox, sometimes it is better to just go into it and just be in it, and then you find a way, don't you? But I guess with the sled pull now, there's a lot more like techniques, especially where people are saying to use your legs more. And like you're saying, you've got such a strong lower body and you've trained legs. So then if you can utilize that, which sometimes it is just technique, like you're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The first time I did it, the technique I was doing was totally wrong, but I didn't realise at the time I was kind of grabbing the rope, squatting and then pulling, and it just wasn't going anywhere. But now I do the total opposite where I squat, grab the rope, kind of pull up and then walk back. And it total opposite, but it's literally the best technique. It so at least for myself. And yeah, it's like I said, I actually do enjoy doing the sleds now. It's one of my favourite, actually.
Yeah, totally. So then taking you back to obviously asked you about your background and your sporting background, and then you said you found Hyrox. Who introduced you to Hyrox? Was it at the gym you found out about it, or were you watching it on Instagram and thought I need to give it a go? Where did you hear about it?
Yeah, so it was a bit of both. I started a new gym so it was this time last year, and I think I just saw it on social media, and like I said, I was just like, that's a bit of me, I need to try that. And then my gym shortly after became Hyrox affiliated. So now they do like the Hyrox class and stuff, which really helps. So yeah, it was just on social media that I saw it.
And did you do a lot of running before? Because obviously we've touched on the strength, like, and we all know that Hyrox is a big run race, and if you can run, you can take off a lot of time. So, did you run before, or did you think, oh, now I need to start running for this race?
Yeah, a bit of both. I've always done a bit of running. I've never been consistent with it. Whenever I like consistent, I just always get ill or I feel like I'm getting a bit of an injury on my knee or something, so then I stop. But ever since doing Hyrox, I know that is like a running race and that I do need to focus on my running because I do have the strength. I know I'm a strong woman, so I know I can do that aspect of it, and so I do now definitely want to focus on my running. I've started doing that interval training, which I'm really enjoying actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's nice to do something different as well sometimes, like that you've maybe not focused on before. It kind of gives you that fire in your belly again to like focus on something, and you see the progression, don't you? Like sometimes when doing the strength for a while, it's hard to get those gains, and then you do something you've not done and it's easier to make like bigger gains quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then going to Hyrox and your first, so what was your first Hyrox? Was it Manchester in November as an open, or did you do one before that?
Yeah, so I did Birmingham, which was middle of October. Yeah, so that was my first one. I was prepared for that one, but I'd actually been on like a long holiday before. So I went on like a 3-week holiday and I got back the week before and I didn't train kind of in that week. I was really jet lagged. So I went into Birmingham and I know. But I just really wanted to do it. Once I've got like my head set on something, I was like, I just want to do it. I booked it knowing I had the holiday booked, but once, yeah, a bit crazy, I know, but I just, yeah, but I just really wanted to do it, like I said, and I had no expectation. I just wanted to complete it. I wasn't bothered about any times. I was really, really nervous about that race. And I was really naive actually about what I was going into. It is literally like the unknown, isn't it? But I loved it that much that I actually did the Manchester 2 weeks later. I managed to get a ticket just off someone I knew. I was like, I need to do that again and I need to do it now. So I literally did it again 2 weeks later.
Oh, that's so cool. And what were your first impressions like when you got there? Because we always find this interesting when people like go to their first Hyrox race. Did you go in,
Yeah.
like, were you blown away? Did you, like, how did you feel in that start tunnel? What was it like doing your first ever Hyrox?
Yeah, it was just incredible. Like, I literally just talk about it so much to all my friends and family, and I'm like, you need to do Hyrox. Like, you just need to do it. You just need to do it. Like going there, so yeah, like I said, I had no expectation. I had no idea what I was going into. I remember driving there, and I was on the Friday evening, so I was working in the morning at home, but I just felt physically sick all day. Like, didn't eat, which isn't great for Hyrox. Wouldn't recommend that to anyone. But I just felt so sick with nerves that I couldn't eat. And I was literally saying to my sister, like, so I'm sure on the rule books it says that you can't have earphones. So I was like, but I need music to, like, race. Like, how am I supposed to race for no music? Not knowing that there was gonna be like a full-on DJ set there, and things like that. But yeah, when I rocked her, I was just like, wow, like, I'm actually doing this. And like I said, the atmosphere is just nothing I've ever experienced. And obviously when you go in the start tunnel and just seeing all the other incredible athletes there, it's quite overwhelming, but in a good way. And obviously then you have the countdown, and then you just suddenly like, oh, I need a toilet, I need a drink, like, just everything. You just like, oh, I just need to do anything.
I know.
But yeah, it's just incredible. And like I said, as soon as I finished, I was like, I need to do that again. I didn't want to leave. So yeah, like I said, I was on Friday night, and I had no real expectation of going up on the weekend. But I literally woke up on the Saturday morning, and I was just still so buzzed, like, from my race. So I just drove back up to Birmingham just on my own, and I just stayed there all day and just went from station to station, just watching everyone. And I did the exact same on the Sunday as well. I just woke up and I was like, I've got, like, washing to do at home, I've got ironing to do, and I was like, no, I just want to go and just watch it because it was just that incredible, the event.
Oh, that's
So
good.
it's fair to say I'm a bit obsessed.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
think a
mean,
lot of people,
yeah.
you're in
In
this,
good company.
yeah, definitely. And then do you mind explaining to everyone the differences for your race, like for the stations? Because they've created the adaptive categories, and I think it's different depending on, like, what you're able to do. So do you mind just breaking it down so that everyone knows how amazing you are and what you
Yeah.
actually do for the race?
Oh, thank you. So yeah, with the Open, they do have different standards depending on what disability you have. So obviously I have the upper limb impairment, but they have lower limb impairment. I think they have short stature. So yeah, lots of different kind of standards depending. But for myself, the sleds, I think the sleds were the same actually. Yeah, I'm trying to think now. What was so the wall balls, instead of doing 4 kilograms in the Open, I did 2, and I also did 75 reps instead of 100.
How about the, like, most recent one you've done? How about the Women's Pro? Because that was a bit more recent, wasn't it? It's probably a bit easier to remember what you
Yeah, so the Pro, they actually so I believe I was the first adaptive athlete to do the Women's Pro, and when I emailed them to say that I've got a ticket, I need to like tell you about my adaptations, they actually sent me the open weights. And I actually told my friend of mine, I was like, what do I do? Like, they've given me like the open weights, but I don't want to do that. Like, I'm doing the Pro and I'm racing with the Pro. Like, I want to do that. I don't want to kind of cheat myself when I have it in my head I'm doing the Pro. So I went back to them and I kind of got to choose what I wanted to do. So the sleds, I did the Pro weight, but I only did 2 lengths instead of the 4. And then it was just the wall balls. Instead of doing 6 kilograms, I then did the 4. So essentially I did the open weight for that one, and I think that's all that was adapted.
So for the ski erg, you still do 1,000 meters.
Yeah,
That is
it's
crazy.
long.
And the row, yeah, 1,000.
Yeah.
That is unreal. Like,
It is unreal.
yeah.
It's incredible to
Thank
be.
you.
Yeah.
A
I mean,
1,000 meters is like a K is a long time on those machines, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, when I signed up, I did look into what the race was, but I just kind of forgot. And then I looked back through it all, and I had actually thought it was 500 meters. And I looked and I was like, "Oh, so what am I doing?" And like I
Yeah.
said, I didn't train for it. I was like, no, I'm just going to wing it on the day. That's, yeah.
And it's like it's a good lesson to people to just do it, isn't it? Because like a lot of people think they have to be really prepared, and you're like, we've spoken to so many people, a bit like you, going, you should really do a Hyrox, and everyone's like, oh, I need to put in like a year of training, oh, I need to do this, and sometimes you just need to give it a go. Like you can complete it. You might not complete it how you want to do it, but at least you've done it at the first stage.
You've like crossed the
And you've
first
crossed
hurdle.
and you've enjoyed it. Like
Exactly.
I said, you put no pressure on yourself, and then you can go away and then either go to pro or try and beat your time or get a bit better with your technique or get a bit faster with your running. But if you
Yeah.
don't just go and do it, which is exactly what you've just said, just go out there and put yourself out there. Everyone's nervous, aren't they? Everyone's
Yeah.
a bit apprehensive because you don't know what you're going to go and do you, until you get there. But you also you can't quite explain to someone what a Hyrox is until they just do the race.
No, exactly. And so yeah, that's the one thing I absolutely just love about it. And so it is just for anyone and everyone and all abilities. Like my sisters keep saying, oh, like I wish I was fit enough to do it. And I'm just like, just do it. Like you don't understand, you can do it. Like it doesn't matter if it takes you 3 hours, 4 hours, like it doesn't matter. And no one is judging you, like literally no one. Like everyone is just so supportive. Like I can't like even just put into words the support you get from everyone. So yeah, everyone needs to go and do a Hyrox. I stand by that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, yeah. And the community is, it comes up time and time again about how supportive everyone is. And just like,
Yeah.
I think the wave structure, doesn't it? It comes up like no one knows where anyone is or what anyone's doing. Like no one has a clue. You just
Yeah.
sing with everyone and then you're suddenly on a station and it just all gets mixed up, which is nice. There's no start and finish as there with like
Yeah.
first and last, which is cool.
So if there was anyone like listening that is an adaptive athlete and was thinking about maybe signing up and like looking at the different categories, is there anything that you would maybe encourage them to practice or to do? I know it's probably different for anyone, but if someone was unsure, like you've already said how supportive everyone's been, but is there anything that you maybe checked up on before you went to your first race, or any tips you could give them?
Yeah, so I guess just finding what works for you. It's like I said, when I first tried the ski, I was wrapping it around my arm. Like I thought that's what I had to do. I thought I had to use both of the skis, yeah, the cords. So yeah, I did try all that for probably a couple of months, and then I thought, no, like I can just use one arm, and I like would encourage anyone just to try all different kind of techniques and just see what works for them. I have had people reach out to me and show me that you can get the I can't think what they're called now, like the straps like to go on my arm and then the ski, which would kind of help, or doing that with the row, which I would like to try. I am okay doing it, I guess like just with my arm, and that does work for me, but but what works for me might not work for someone else. So it's just finding out what works for you, I guess.
Yeah, there's loads of like options, and it's nice to hear that Hyrox, I guess, is open to people trying different ways. You know, there's not set like you don't have to do it a certain way. You have to do the 1,000 meters, but it's
Yeah.
kind of up to you how you do it on the ski. Like it's not this is the way you have to do it.
And hopefully it will just adapt as more people like get involved in Hyrox as a sport and it grows. It will adapt and like people will like share information or share things that they've learned, or people will be able to learn off people and see how they can do things better. It's like technique videos are going up all the time for everyone, aren't they? And
Yeah.
we had Charlotte on the podcast, who is a wheelchair athlete, and since then I've seen quite a few wheelchair athletes on it, but like obviously she's led the way at the beginning on like of how she's done it, and then she told us like she had to provide her own like connector to
for the
go
sled.
onto the sled and things like that. And if you don't know, you just don't know, do you? So it's like
Yeah.
sharing this information so everyone can participate, which is hopefully what Hyrox is doing really well, which is like creating a sport for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
I know, it's cool.
Yeah.
So how about, so you've competed in 2 opens, you've just done your pro. Have you got any other races planned this year, or what's the like future? I know you've got completely addicted, so I can't imagine that's your last Hyrox.
Absolutely not. I want to do London, which I think is in May. And I just really want to just do my best. I feel like every race I've done, I've not been at my best, to be honest, just because of life getting in the way and things like that, and the fact of just throwing myself in at the last minute as well. So I really want to,
Holiday beforehand.
yeah, exactly. Won't do that again. Wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, I just really want to do it and be at my best and just know kind of what I'm capable of. I also want to just trial every category. So I really want to do a doubles. I'd love to do a mixed doubles, relay. I'd also love to do, I know they've started to do adaptive categories that you can enter. So unfortunately, when I do race currently just in the generic open or generic pro, I don't get a place or a place in my age category. It's just kind of blank. So I don't know where I am against anyone else. But they do the adaptive categories. I know they had one, I think the last one was in Paris, and they do have an adaptive category, I believe, in Glasgow, but unfortunately I was too late at getting a ticket. So yeah, I'd love to be able to compete in one of those categories, just be able to actually like kind of race against other people like me, because I think that would just be really, really empowering. It would just be that step up, I guess, just to be able to race against other adaptive athletes.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. That would be really cool. And hopefully that is what's coming to every race, and fingers crossed by you sharing your story as well. And I know like doing your Instagram, like it's amazing because it'll inspire other people to hopefully take part as well. And then you can all like compete against each other, which
it'd be so cool. So cool.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a competition element, isn't it? And then it becomes not a race against time sometimes, and a race for placing, which just changes the race up. When you look at like the Elite 15, they just race against each other, which is like rather than racing for time, which I mean, Hyrox for most people is a race against your own personal best, but it's nice to make it a race against other people.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of nice competition would be nice, because like I said, I can't like currently race for podiums. I'm not at that level anyway, don't get me wrong, but I still can't kind of race to get first in my age category or anything, because as like I said, I don't get placed. But to be able to actually just kind of see where I am, I guess, against other adaptive athletes, it would be really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And then going back to like, for example, the introduction where you said you wanted to like be seen and show like young girls maybe with a disability or young children, like so they have the visual of like somebody that's like them. To how does that push you forward, and what have you got any like plans around that, or are you just going to keep trying to get yourself out there and do Hyrox and hope that other young girls and young boys maybe with a disability can see you doing it and they see themselves in you, which inspires them to do more? Is that
Exactly that. I think social media is kind of the biggest platform, so where you can kind of share that. I guess growing up, social media wasn't huge, and I didn't really get to see anyone who overly inspired me, because I just didn't see that. Obviously, you do have the Paralympics, but apart from that, like being every 4 years, you don't really see that. And I guess a big push for me is that I do actually have a disabled daughter myself. She has cerebral palsy. She's nearly 12 and she can't walk. Her communication is quite limited. But she is the most happiest little girl you will ever meet. She's fully aware she like has that disability, but she's just still so happy with it. So I am obviously her role model as much as she is mine, and I get to inspire her. So I guess since having her, she's really gave me that push where that I need to show her that I can do anything. So that means she can do anything. And I think being able to do that for her, as well as many other children and even adults, I've had adults reach out to me, and girls like my age, who do have a disability like me, but they shy away from it. They don't like to show themselves on social media. And they've said how, I mean, I don't think I am inspiring, but they have used that word and said that I am kind of inspiring them to actually be more confident. And just to hear those words is just, it's just my purpose, really.
You are inspiring, and it's probably really hard for you because you're doing you, and you're like, well, I want to do this for me. But for other people to see it, and like you said, like, it's brave to put yourself out there. It is, because we've got friends that I know wouldn't put themselves out there or don't want to. So for you to do it and to lead by example, and yeah, I think it is incredibly inspiring, even though you probably don't like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just me, like, it's just
Yeah, I
me.
know.
I'm so normal, honestly. So I'm just like, I'm
You
not.
don't realize how many people you probably inspire without even realizing it, you know?
But I think
Yeah.
like such inner strength, and I mean you're like doing so much for the community, and then obviously for your daughter, and like you're still finding the time to share your story, to speak to us. I'm sure you're extremely busy juggling everything, and then trying to fit in your training and go to the races, and I just think it's incredible, and anyone listening I'm sure will agree. But like it just shows that you should go for it and do it and not shy away from things. And we've like always lived by the motto, like, do it while you can, and whilst you're able to do it, then go for it, and don't like hold yourself back. Yeah, and I think it's incredible what you're doing, and an example you're setting for everyone. So thank you for even giving us the time to chat to us. And
Oh no, don't be silly. I can always make time for something like this. No pressure.
Probably trying to cook dinner in the background and do all these things.
But on that, and something that we get a lot of people, every time we speak to people, we ask them who they would like to hear from, and a lot of females in particular, and obviously probably because we're both girls, want to hear from like mums and how people like balance their life and their training and working. So like, how do you balance everything for all the mums out there that are trying to do everything? Like, how do you manage to fit your training in, work, look after your daughter, cook, clean, go on holidays, come back, get jet lag, and go and do a race? Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. I have breakdowns daily. No, I'm only joking. It's hard. It's really hard. I'm a single mom. Like I said, she had so she has disability. I have to go to appointments. My time management isn't great. I'm always running late. I'm not great at it all, but I do my best, and that's all I can do, I guess. Like I said, I can't always fit in my workouts. I probably don't work out as much as, like, half as much as I like really want to, but if I enjoy something and if I want to do something, I'll do it. Especially I guess with things like Hyrox. But yeah, it's hard, but it's rewarding at the same time. Yeah, you just make it work. You have to. So
And it's that whole, like you just said, you enjoy it, so I guess you prioritize it because it's for you, isn't it? And like busy mums like need the time for them as well. So you're probably a better person and a better mum if you've managed to get your gym session in, or
exactly that. Exactly
know?
that.
Yeah. And do you have a gym at home, or do you go to the gym, or do you run from home? How does you just
Yeah, no, I go to the gym. I did used to during COVID back in the day. I love Les Mills grit. I don't know if you do grit. It's my absolute staple, and I used to do it a lot at home, especially during lockdown. And as we were saying earlier, it's very, very cold at the minute, so I can't bring myself to go out in the garden just yet. But when the weather like gets nicer, I will start to do it at home. But yeah, I do go to the gym. I like have a really good network there actually. Like I do a lot of classes, like I said. I just feel really comfortable doing classes as well as the weight training. But yeah, I like to get out and run as well. So like I said, it's just good just for overall well-being really, isn't it? And just for mental health, that's kind of the one thing I like to do for myself. So I do try and like prioritize it as much as possible.
Yeah, and then I mean, it sounds like you've got a really good gym that like you feel comfortable in, and hopefully if anyone's listening and they're not sure about going to a gym, and if they like do have a disability but they want to join a gym, they'll maybe feel like they can go and ask and like find there's always different options, isn't there? Just because someone's written something on a whiteboard in a class, it doesn't have to be exactly as prescribed. Like
No, absolutely. You can tailor it to yourself. I always do. If there's something I can't do, I'll just wing it, and I'll just like I'm doing what I'm doing, just ignore me. And I'm more than happy just to do my own thing, literally.
You do that anyway.
Yeah, you're moving and like that, you're getting the heart rate up, and that's all that matters, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah, and do you still do any dancing, or have you totally stopped that now? Do you like still, apart from like probably dancing around the house or dancing with your daughter, maybe?
I
Do
do always dance around the house. I
Yeah, I
still
feel like
stretch a lot as well. I'll just be sat in the splits watching telly, as you do. I have occasionally done a bit of heels dancing, which is more kind of adult, a little bit sexy dancing. But again, that's really empowering. I just do it with a group of girls who were really great as well. I don't do it often. I would like to do it a little bit more. But yeah, most of the dancing just happens in my four walls at home, just to myself.
Oh, no fair. I mean, sitting in the splits watching TV is wild.
Literally.
I literally would love to be able to do this. It's never going to happen.
Start now. Start practicing.
I just think that is such a good thing to be able to do.
And then what about usually I know we touched on how your mental strength must be incredible. But during a race, is there anything that you say to yourself to make you keep going? Or usually everyone gets to the wall balls and they're like, oh my God, like I'm so done. How do you like pick that ball up and keep going? Is there anything you say to yourself?
I just tell myself to suck it up, really, and you paid to do it, so get up and do it. But no, I think the main thing for me is having the support there with you. Like I said, I've got a really good support network, and I've had my family come and people from the gym who are competing there be there with me. And I literally tell them, like, scream at me, tell me to get the F up, like, tell me to carry, like, just go, like, swear at me, scream at me. And they do, and I absolutely love it. Like, it's crazy, but that's just what keeps me going. I've got some videos, and literally in the background, like, you can just hear everyone like screaming at me, but I just love it. I need that.
Yeah, it's what works for different people, isn't it? Some
Yeah.
people hate it, some people love being shouted at to keep going. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm like that. If someone screams at me, I'll keep going. But last time we were on the wall balls, I told them to just scream at me to keep going, and I would keep going.
Yeah, and it
It
worked.
worked. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah. It works for me, absolutely.
Yeah, I know. And then do you have like a motto or a mantra? Like some people write like mottos or write something on their arm, like a mantra to keep them going. Have you ever done that, or you're not really?
I don't actually. That might be a good idea, but no.
You did
Next
say
time.
at the start, I don't know if we'd pressed record yet or not, and now I'm trying to remember what you said, but you don't think you just do, or is that what no, I've gone off. No, it was like I know I'm trying to think, because it made me think of us saying like do it while you can, and the way you said it I think was like you just get on with it, like no choice and just carry on sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Which is a good motto to live by, and just go for it. So anyone listening, if they're thinking about signing up for a Hyrox race, they should just do it.
Just do it, yeah, for sure. And then just before we move on to the cheeky insights and the last 8 questions, do you have anyone that's never done a Hyrox or is just new to Hyrox? Do you have any like 3 top tips that you would give them for either their first race or to maybe like improve their Hyrox racing experience? Anything that you've learned, or anything in training or kit wise, or getting ready for the day? Anything you
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going on holiday before your
Yeah.
first Hyrox for a start.
For sure.
And not
Maybe
training.
holiday.
Don't do that. No, definitely fuel. Food is fuel, and you need to make sure that you're fueled before, because otherwise you will just not feel great during that. So yeah, definitely fuel yourself. And I think run your own race as well. I'm really big on that. Like, I'm so competitive, but in that environment, I just run against myself. It's just me against me. And it's so easy when you're rowing, for example, just to very slyly just kind of look to your left or right to see how you're doing against the other competitors. But I mean, I do it, but I don't do it to, you know.
You're not going to change what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah. It's just to be nosy more than anything. I'm very nosy. But yeah, just do I guess just run your own race, don't compare yourself. And I'd say the last one is just to enjoy it and just smile throughout, because it really helps. If you smile, it just helps boost yourself, and you need that. And just enjoy it, because I mean, like I said, you literally do pay to do it. You need to just enjoy it, because and just soak up the energy as well, especially when you get over that finish line. Just enjoy the atmosphere and just take it all in, because it truly is just incredible.
Yeah. I mean, that just reminds me of, like, you know, when you like on a running race, it's like a half marathon or marathon or something, and there's someone standing there with a board that says, like, you paid to do this at like mile 17 or something on a marathon when you hate in life. And it's like, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, you
You're
just
not
have to go and do it.
literally, you do.
Like you said, suck it up. You paid to do it. Like, you
So-
thought it was a great idea at the time.
So true. Okay, amazing. Well, if you're ready, we've got 8 questions that we usually finish the podcast on. So the first one is, what shoes do you wear to race Hyrox?
I wear my Pumas. I think it's the Puma Velocity Nitro, I want to say. I definitely bought them because they were bright green, and I love a statement shoe, not gonna lie, but they are actually really great trainers. So yeah, love them.
Great trainers and great color.
Yeah,
So,
Exactly.
I think when you said you were a dancer and you loved all the makeup and the outfits and stuff, that Hyrox was probably the right one for you, because Hyrox is a little bit about, like,
You're
Oh
out.
yeah, I really want to do a doubles just so I can
Yeah.
match with someone else. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love watching everyone's outfits.
So good. Okay, next one. Which has been your favorite venue, Hyrox venue to race in?
I've only done 2, so it's between Birmingham and Manchester. And I think they're both good for different reasons. I'm gonna say Birmingham just because in Manchester I did run an extra lap because it was like 3, yeah.
Oh
It's 3 and it's such a confuse.
Yeah, you have to go in on the 3rd time you see the in arch, and when you're in the zone, and yeah, I was just, every time I was like, do I go in? Do I not? I'd rather run an extra lap than get a penalty. But yeah, I got the extra lap, didn't I? So Birmingham is getting my vote.
Yeah,
Fair
I think
enough.
it's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. It's hard enough just doing the race, let alone trying to do maths and count throughout.
Literally.
Even I get confused on the sled pull. I'm like, how many have I
I know,
done?
I nearly
Like,
ran off on the last one, I think.
yeah, it's just everything's confusing.
But we just did Auckland, and it was 1 lap, and the nicest thing about it was
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just 1 lap.
Yeah.
It just took away that thought process or having to count, or
Yeah.
like,
Literally. I know. I mean, bless my mum, when she came to Manchester, the first one I did in November, she was there, and I think I did the extra lap then, and it was the first or the second like run, and then every other time she was right by the inn going, 1 lap 2, go in, you're on your 3rd one. And then my sister came to the to Manchester a couple of weeks ago, and my mum was like, make sure you're there to tell her the laps. I was like, no, honestly, I'll be fine. Don't do that because she's pregnant. So I was like, honestly, like, just go and wait till each stations, you'll be out of breath. And she was like, everyone, she was like, lap 1, you're on lap 2. Go
everyone
in.
needs a mum like that.
It'll be fine.
That is awesome.
Yeah, no. Hopefully soon they'll be able to, I don't know, grow their venues and it'll be less laps.
Yeah,
Less
they'll all be
counting.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, less counting for everyone. Okay, next one is, what's your favorite Hyrox station and why?
That would have to be sled push. It's definitely my strongest one, again, because you use your legs and your glutes. That's where I have my most muscle. So it's just a bit of a confidence boost, I guess, doing that one, because I am quite good at it, dare I say. So yeah, it's just quite nice to do that one.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I think sandwiched between the ski erg and the sled pull, it's probably quite nice to have that there.
Yeah, it's early on as well. It's early on. So, you know, you're feeling good at that point. And then, for example, when you get to lunges, which, wow,
Yeah, I know.
South the lunges, doesn't it?
I think it all goes
I'm not a
downhill
fan of
from the lunges. Yeah,
I literally shed a tear on the pro. I had a tear or 5 come out of my eyes.
Yeah.
That's when my sister told me to suck it up. I was like, okay, yeah.
You need to do doubles because I think I nearly got cramps, so I was just like, you gotta have it.
Yeah,
Give it back to her. That's where you can like jump out of it in a doubles race.
Yeah.
But how did you find the jump between the open and the pro sled push? Wait, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it was heavy. I found, I don't know if it was just me or, but I have heard a few people say it, is that it felt like it was a lot wider, the sleds. So trying to position myself, it was just really hurting my left arm, like the top of it, because it's quite small. So yeah, I found it quite hard just to get the right position. I was lucky that I only had to do like 2 lengths, so it wasn't too bad. And then once I got in the flow, I was okay. And the weight, obviously it's heavy. There's no denying it's heavy, but I was okay with it once I got into the flow, but it just did feel like it was a bit wide. But again, that might have just been me because it was heavier.
Yeah, I do think like the jump between that is quite like heavy. You know, like the open, you can kind of not, I wouldn't say run with it, but you can kind of do a length and you don't feel like it's burned much. But with the pro, sometimes you do a half a length and you can feel like the burn starting, can't you?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder.
Yeah.
And for the lunges, for the sandbag, is there someone to help you get it onto your back, or you have to do it on your own?
No, I just did it on my own. I was dreading the pro lunges, like even like the week before, because it's obviously just so heavy. I don't have any like adaptations on that one, and usually so when I've done it previously, I've not been able to kind of loop this arm through the handle, so I've only just kind of had to balance it on my shoulders holding the one. And because you're slightly tilted forward when you're doing the lunges, it used to just kill my back, and I couldn't stand up and stretch my back out because it would have just fell off because I weren't holding it with both arms. So I was dreading doing it then with the 20 kilograms because I was like, it's just going to kill my back, but I'm not able to stand up and stretch out. Like, and I think that's maybe why I shed a tear, but I did actually manage somehow to loop my arm in. So I actually found it a bit more comfortable. Still cried, still really hard, but it was a lot easier. Well, wow, a lot better, should I say.
Yeah, just to have the load spread a bit more evenly. But
exactly,
it is,
yeah.
20 kilos is, what's 10 kilos more, isn't it, on your back? So
it's double the amount.
It is quite a big leap.
It was tough. It was rough out there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, fair play. Okay, next one is, if you could do a doubles Hyrox with anyone in the world, who would it be?
That's a good question. You know, I'd love to do it with a family member. None of my family are really into fitness, and like I said, my sister taught me to suck it up. when I was doing those lunges and shed a tear. So I would love to put her through her paces and tell her to suck it up.
Yeah.
But no,
Sandbag.
exactly. You take that sandbag and you suck it up. No, but I think as well, it's just, I mean, like we've said, it really is for anyone. And so I've got two sisters. I've got one twin and then one older sister. And they've both said how much they'd love to do it, but they wouldn't be able to do it. And I'd just love, I'm going to keep pestering them to do one and just to book one. But I like just love for them to be able to do it and just know that they are capable, like anyone is capable if you put your mind to it. And just train a little bit. You don't need to train, be on like a 6-month training program or anything like that. You can just train a bit and get it done. So I'd love to be able to do it with one of them and just show them that that they can just do anything.
And you said you got a twin?
I've got a twin, yeah.
Is you an identical twin? Or
no, apparently we
but
were born identical, but no, we are
very
not.
different.
Very much different now.
I was gonna say that would look wild, like for a doubles, if you were like dressed the same,
Yeah.
identical. Like
Matching
how cool would
outfit,
that?
yeah.
I mean, it would still look cool, but I was just, I don't think I've seen an identical twin, like not yet on Hyrox.
No,
I haven't seen
Instagram.
identical twins like in a cool
That's what we'll have
outfit.
to find.
that would be cool.
That
Yeah.
would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to find one.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Do you fuel for Hyrox? And if so, what do you use and when do you take it? Do you have anything in the race or something you always have before?
Yeah, I do take my gels along with me. I will always have one tucked in my waistband. And I take one just before as well. And then sweets. I love sweets, and just firing in a few before I start. Yeah.
What's your sweets of choice? We've had and Sour Patch Kids, something else as well. I don't know what.
I usually have jelly babies.
That would be mine.
That's
Just the
quite
standard, yeah. Can't go wrong.
No, you can't go wrong with a jelly baby. So that would be mine too.
Unless they're in your pocket and they get warm and then they
Squished, but not before. If you have them before, they'll be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I once told Em we were on a bike ride once, and Em was hitting the wall, and I said to her, "Hey, if you have the black jelly babies, they've got more energy." She was like,
And I
"Really?"
believed her.
I was like, "Yeah, you have to have the black ones."
I was like, I was so tired. I thought she was being serious. So I was like, "Give me all the black ones," and she was like, "No, they're all the same." I was like, "Oh no."
Oh, I'd probably fall for that as well, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
So now
In that moment when you're like you're dying, I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Give me the best ones.
So now, like, we have a giggle every time we get jelly babies out because then we'll always go for the black
ones. Okay, next one is, what's your favorite type of training session for Hyrox?
I've just started interval training, which is really cool, on the track. I'm very new to it, but like I said, I do really want to improve on my running. So that I also love, I've just mentioned it as well, Les Mills grit. It's not obviously linked to Hyrox, but I did my first Les Mills grit class probably 11 years ago or so, and I've been doing it weekly, every week, every Saturday morning ever since. And I just think it's an absolute staple, and it should be a staple in everyone's routine. I mean, if I don't do it for a week, my body does not like it, does not forgive me if I just miss a week. So I think it's just an absolute staple, and it just totally elevates your fitness levels. So let's grit all the way.
Yeah. And it's a cool one for people to get involved into, isn't it? It's like sometimes hard for people to find a track, or maybe there's not a Hyrox gym nearby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can actually do it at home.
Yeah, but track sessions are cool, aren't they? I mean, we've started to do a few more. It's quite like, it's a good way to get you running in like slightly different way instead of just going for like sometimes the distance runs, people are a bit like, oh, you kind of cover distance without even realizing you've done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's cool.
Okay, next one, we've got two more. So next one, we've kind of covered a little bit, but in a nutshell, why should someone sign up for their first Hyrox?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's just I've just not done any event or been to a place like it. You just walk in and the atmosphere and the environment, it's just unmatched. It's just not like anything I've ever done before. And that so like just totally outweighs this, I don't want to say struggle of Hyrox, but just it's hard, isn't it? Hyrox is hard. There's no denying it. But the atmosphere and the sense of achievement once you've completed it, there's just nothing like it. And yeah, it's just a great thing to do. I'd recommend it to everyone, and I always do. I recommend it to everyone.
Love that. It's worth it at the end. Although you might not think that whilst you're doing it, it is definitely at the end for sure.
Exactly. And I guarantee anyone who does it will 100% want to sign up again. I mean, during it, they will question their life choices over and over again. But once you finish it, you're like, okay, I've done that. I can do that again.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like type B fun or whatever they say. Like, what, you don't enjoy it when you do it, but when you finish, you forget all the pain, and then you're just like, okay, when's the next one?
Yeah.
Literally.
And then lastly, is there anyone you would love to hear more from, or a type of athlete or person in the Hyrox world that we could interview on the podcast? You've got any suggestions?
Yeah, I guess just other adaptive athletes. I'd love to hear more about their experiences, their kind of tips and tricks, I guess. I can't think of anyone in particular. I have been listening to your podcast, and I've listened to like Charlotte, for example, and she was really great, really inspiring. So I guess just having more adaptive athletes would be great. I'd also love to hear from Sinead Bent, who is the current world open record holder, because I think she's relatively new to Hyrox, but she is just wow. And I guess just to hear her experience and any tips she have, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
take that.
Especially running, she's like, whoo.
Oh, and she literally ran past me many times at Manchester, and I was just like, I want to be her.
Yeah, I know.
Same thing
Wow.
happened with us in Melbourne with Jo Weirdrek. She just like kept flying past us, and we were just like,
How?
how?
Yeah,
You've just
literally.
got to try and finish this Hyrox, two of us, before she finishes on her own. Like, but it's quite cool, isn't it, being on the track with other athletes where you can like see when you can all race the same track at the same time. It's
Exactly. At the other Manchester, when I ran with not with, I wish, but with alongside Lucy Davis, who is just incredible. I literally saw her before and I was like, Mum, look who that is.
Yeah.
And then I literally ran like, I mean, she ran past me. I didn't obviously run past her, but and I was just like, wow, like to be able to run alongside and race alongside such incredible athletes, like it's just incredible. Really is.
It's a cool concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice to all be able to
like
share the same track.
You share it together. Yeah, definitely. Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much. For people who want to follow your journey and hopefully you get a ticket for London and they can see how you get on in London, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. That's kind of my main platform, really. My username is Straubs Blonde. It's a really old one. I need to probably change it, really. I do also have TikTok, which is Katie_fitness_. So it'd be great if anyone can follow me and just follow my journey, I guess. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll put them in the show notes. And is there anything else you want to add, or anything that we didn't manage to cover that you wanted to say, or have we kind of hopefully got everything that you wanted to speak about in the podcast?
No, I think we've covered everything. Yeah, I think we've covered everything. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was just really nice to hear more about your Hyrox journey, and hopefully people listening will be inspired. Well, they can't not be inspired, but and hopefully it'll maybe make a few more adaptive athletes sign up if they've been thinking about it and not sure. And just you sharing your experience will hopefully give people the confidence as well to just go and give it a go and know that it is a really supportive community and supportive race where people can feel comfortable. and it is for everyone. So
Absolutely.
thank
Thank
you
you for having me. Thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome. Thank you everyone for listening. If you can give this episode a like, share it with as many people as possible so we can share these stories and inspire lots of people in the community. And we will see you on the next episode.